period, there were 100 plus SEZs were given different levels of approval. Kakinada is one which has seen grassroots resistance to the SEZ. Initially, it was supposed to be an SEZ established by ONGC, but subsequently it was transferred to a private individual. And since then, there has been resistance against that. And interestingly, this anti-SEZ movement is led by a Dalit, by name Rajendra Kumar. And the peasantry in this area, the dominant peasantry in this area comes from the Kapu community. It's an interesting Kapu community dominant anti-SEZ movement led by a Dalit. It's a very interesting kind of thing. And the technique of the government is generally when the most contentious issue in the SEZ is the land acquisition. Okay. So the government uses all kinds of methods to acquire land. It uses subaltern officials, the revenue officials, to go and spread the rumors that if you do not give your land, then government would have a right to acquire it compulsorily. So they put all kinds of threats. But very interestingly, a large chunk of farmers in this area have put up resistance. Some of them, of course, are wielded because of the pressure, also because of the persuasion by the Pairavika. The government subaltern revenue officials use Pairavika, local Pairavika, the influence peddlers, and through them they try to persuade the farmers. But I think so far it's the only SEZ where there is a very successful protracted resistance against this. Now it's in a very critical stage in the sense that most of these activists in the SEZ are made to go from one court to another. A lot of cases have been filed against them, and it's one form of harassment. I think this is the technique which the modern state is using in the last couple of decades, to my mind. So therefore, I think it's necessary for the democratic forces to support this movement, because this is a very fertile area in Andhra Pradesh, where 2 to 3 crops are grown. And the government's argument is that this is all dry area, not so fertile land and all that. That's not true. Large chunk of people are making fairly decent living from this land. So it's not just the landowners and the peasants who would be displaced. This is also the area where you have a large chunk of artisanal communities and the fishermen, depending on the fishery industry. So it's farmers, agricultural laborers, artisanal groups, and the fisher people. So the entire village, almost villages in 2 to 3 mandals are going to be displaced by this. So do we need an SEZ at such a huge human cost? That's the question which the movement is raising. Secondly, can the government acquire fertile land in the name of industrialization SEZ? That's the second thing which is an important question. Thirdly, what is government's responsibility towards the protection of the livelihood? The SEZ also would mean huge ecological degradation. Not just the drinking water bodies, but also the sea would be polluted. So a whole lot of questions related to the livelihood, security, environment, and the basic entertainment people. These are the questions which are involved. So therefore, I think the SEZ, anti-SEZ resistance in Kakinada raises a whole lot of issues which are very much pertinent to the policy processes, and also the empowerment of the subaltern classes, because these are not the huge big landlords. These are all small, medium farmers, and mostly belong to the Dalit and backward caste communities. So therefore, there is an important social issue that is involved. So therefore, I think the democratic minded people must take cognizance of this and debate on this. So SEZ resistance movement, in fact, provides an opportunity to look at multidimensionality social life involved in resistance.
How about the media, mainstream media?
The local media, in fact, it's sad that the local media basically treats as an event, because the local singers are not properly informed about the policy implications and policy background of it. Basically, if an incident happens, they would immediately go and report. But there is no sustained reporting informed by a perspective. So there is a serious limitation to the it is vernacular reportage on these issues, whether it is SEZ or other industrialization related projects. So this is the problem. There is a serious limitation to the news reporting.
This English mainstream medias?
English mainstream media also has paid episodic kind of attention. There is no sustained treatment. Though there has been movement going on, there are cases filed by SEZ protesters, both in Human Rights Commission and also the High Court. But there is no sustained pursuance of what's happening to these cases.
Is it deliberately happening, or is that is not a news for them? Because that's a
I think
news.
the tragedy with the Indian media, both print and electronic media, is that it's basically news and sensation driven. So if there is some halchal happening, then they will immediately go and pay attention. Otherwise, they will just.
But in that case, Anna Hazare movement was from the morning till the evening. The media was covering. The sensation differs, or does the sensation differs, or?
No, that is also in a sensation. But now that the sensation that aura has gone, maybe the media would no longer be interested in it.
Okay.
No, I'm not belittling the importance of Anna Hazare. I mean, it's raising a very important question. We may differ on the mode of raising the issue and modus operandi and all that. But corruption is an important issue which affects ordinary people. But the media's attention to that is not as an issue-based kind of thing. It's basically as an event episode based response. So also the question of SEZ. SEZ should not be just treated as an episode. It should be treated as an issue, policy issue, and there should be sustained perspective-driven attention to that.
Which of the movement is looking after this issue, sir?
This is a movement led by Rajendra. It's called anti-SEZ movement. It consists of the local intellectuals, activists, and also some NGOs. And of course, the civil rights organizations are involved in this. It's almost it's one of the very few protected movements, non-violent protected movements, involving almost every section of the society, peasants, farmers, agricultural labor, women. Now I understand even students are getting into it.
Okay. The movement is growing.
Yeah, it's growing. But equally it's facing problems from the government as well.